All right, let's cross live now to Chair Professor Suzhou University, Victor Gao. Victor, great to have you on with us. The Dutch government has blocked ASML exports to China. How will this affect the semiconductor industry in China?
Thank you very much for having me. Happy New Year to your audience. First of all, the Dutch government made that decision to block ASML's sale of machinery to China because the United States has forced the Dutch government to do that. That means the United States is truly disrupting free trade and international business practices and try to weaponize trade, especially those involved in semiconductor chips. Now, the United States has singled out semiconductor chips, AI, and quantum computing as three areas that they want to block access of Chinese manufacturers and companies to the very sophisticated spare parts and other equipments in these three areas. Now, this is not fair trade. This is not market economy. This is against fair trade, and this is truly sabotage the international trade. Now, contrary to what the United States government is expecting, this will really force China to become more and more self-reliant. And in terms of semiconductor chips, I would say in a matter of years, China will not need to import any single chip from abroad, meaning China will achieve complete self-reliance and self-sufficiency. And this is against the background that China used to spend about $300 billion in importing chips from different countries and regions in the world. That means the United States stand to lose out this $300 billion import market from China. And that's not the end of the story. China will export semiconductor chips it will manufacture to the rest of the world. So this is the boomerang effect you talked about. The United States will not win this war against China in denying China's access to semiconductor chips. It will boomerang back against the U.S. interests because eventually it will not only lose the $300 billion market in China, it will also have to deal with the Chinese exports of semiconductor chips, both at the lower end, the medium end, and at the premium high end. This
Victor,
is the mega trend.
Right. Victor, as you say, and Beijing says the U.S. is sabotaging the international trading system. Why would the U.S. play a role in this particular case with the Netherlands? Why do you think?
No, I think the United States is really worried that China's economy will surpass that of the United States in a matter of years, and they worry that China will impose its values and political system onto the United States. This is, again, very much misguided and hyped up nightmares. I hope the United States will learn to deal with China as it is. China does not want to impose its political system or ideology on the United States, and China values free trade and market practice, and China can really deal with the United States equally, rather than, for example, the United States try to impose its wills on China. It will backfire.
And how will blocking ASML exports to China, how is that likely to affect the finances of the Netherlands?
Well, if you see that the ASML really depended on export to China up to more than 20%, if not 25% of its total revenue. And if they lose this very large market as far as they are concerned, meaning they probably will be running at a huge loss. They will not make enough revenue and enough profit to support their research and development for future purposes. Further, the maximum pressure put against China by the United States and through the Dutch government will really drive China's independence and self-reliance, meaning China has figured out a way to make semiconductor chips bypassing the roadmap that ASML has outlined, and China will figure out a proprietary way of making semiconductor chips and at a lower cost and a greater efficiency. That means there will be two ways of making semiconductor chips, one traditionally through ASML, the other one proprietary made by China. this is not what China originally wanted. China was very happy to buy machines from ASML, becoming its largest customer in the world. But now the pressure by the United States is disrupting this normal practice, normal trade between China and the Netherlands, and it will really force a complete disruption of the situation. And I think both the Netherlands and the United States in particular will suffer the consequences in a matter of years. The boomerang effect is coming back to haunt them.
All right, we're going to leave it there. Victor Gao, Chair Professor of Suzhou University. Victor, thank you.
Thank you.